Wow. Alafu utume kitu. Na utume ya
this is how people take advantage of opportunities. Who has given you the permission to become a
We're trying to help you.
No, trying to help you. See, they should have the manager, so I didn't say I need help.
No, the manager needs help from the managers.
We are managing your finances.
Moving forward, welcome to February. Happy Valentine's, which is in 14 days, and itakuwa Sunday. Apparently, you've not celebrated. Yeah, that's why it's a month of love. Like I have to coordinate love.
Yes.
I have to coordinate love because this is a month of love, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah. If you all have an issue with love, if you all have an issue with love. And before we get to the meme section, as always, follow us on all our social media platforms. Remember to comment, share, and like at JBN Television and at Firebrand Nation and Firebrand Nation Kenya on Facebook. So guys, let's get to the meme section. Firebrand Mulima, take over.
Okay. So there is this meme here. Umetulia una stress. Then boom. Cockroaches zimeomoka
kwenye Gucci.
Iko the Louis Vuitton.
The number of fans in that thing, because you see boom by itself, and then unakaa hivi unaangalia the cockroaches. It's dope.
Lakini you happen. Kwanza za nini? Cockroach za uptown. Zinakuanga hivyo. Actually cockroach za uptown na downtown they are very different. Very different. Cockroach za downtown ni nyeusi mzee.
Na kubwa.
Ni kubwa za
zuka.
Zinatokea hivi.
Zuka zikitembeza uptown zuka mzikifly. It's true, zuka zikifly.
Unaona tu Gucci.
Like I didn't find the house. Do you come any superstition because they were saying like these cockroaches actually fly? It's because of witchcraft.
No, really.
No, I'm saying it's a question. Calm down.
You're narrative ya ghetto.
God gave them wings.
Alafu za ghetto kwanza zinatoka kwa siwe.
Exactly. Hizo nzile zenye hata ukitry kuweka hawa yako clean bado tuzita.
Lakini za majuu, hizo za huku juu. Wazazi zinatoka kwanza na kuchungulia.
Sophisticated.
Sio na mazao umekaa umetoka kitu zinarudi ndani.
Kama ile simu ya KWS.
Exactly.
Then last born akimaliza kuosha vyombo.
Oh my God, this is so true. I can attest to this. Very true.
I don't have that experience. You all have to tell me.
You know you're the first born and the last
one, right?
So how does it feel?
No, there's no way you'll get sick. You're the only one who's there.
Hakuna mtu wangu.
Exactly.
Kwanza upate last born mwenye mmeachana na miaka kama 10 ama 7, 5 hapo. Msee. Nakwambia hiyo nyumba mpaka hata kuna dawa zijaongezwa zile syrup.
Kama comments zingine ati mama amesema unifundishe kuendesha gari. Na ni mtu anatosha naje like
kidogo mama amesema unitengeneze gari ya waya.
Na ukataa mama.
Anaanza kupiga kelele.
Last born, we see you.
And then ulitafutiwa makosa gani ndio kaachwa? Niliona kasema alikuwa watu wanangoja nimuoneshe sign nimechoka na yeye.
This is enough for the day. I don't know if I feel coming as a tomato sana this is on your face.
Actually not. Kwanza hii month.
Especially the second week.
Especially with the introduction of the SMAC, Stingy Men Association thing. Nakwambia.
Why are you men becoming stingy by the way? Why?
Kwanza uko na ID. Umesubscribe kwa chama.
Bado ina process.
Mbona unauliza?
Niko na waiting.
Do not emulate this man. Do not emulate this man.
Hiyo time.
So na assume wiki mtakuwa na conference.
Hiyo wiki asindio. Si ID unafanya nini ya nini? ID ya kuingia conference.
Every Valentine's lazima kukuwe na something.
I know exactly.
Something something new. Anyway, it's
Wow.
okay.
Kwanza,
Smart.
and then the fact that kwanza this time sitakuwa na Sunday. If someone just insists that anataka a date on that day, anataka to draw men away from God.
From God, please.
Yes, so please this time we want to
Guys, put it on the
we want to worship God.
We want to worship
That
God.
date
We want to
tutakuja
know God.
the first service
It's called
inaanza kwanza
getting
It
back
is
to the
a
first
devotion.
love.
We are loving God. Yes, this.
Going back to the first love.
going back to the first love.
Mnakaa kanisani hadi saa ngapi?
Kwanza tunaanza 3 hours kwa altar.
Na hiyo ni kuanzia 6 a.m.
Giving me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because we have to give God the best. Oh my God.
Ami hata kujua mnatoka saa ngapi?
Tunatoka 11:59. Yani 10:59
No.
p.m.
According to the
Why-
according to the chairman, tunatoka tarehe 15.
Au ukiendanga job.
We want to love
So
God.
kuna full accommodation.
That
We want to-
Captain atupata
Ladies, you've been
We
told
want to
early.
know the
So yeah, you
There are
remember
people who
mapema.
say
If
that-
you're straying,
People say that Valentine's doesn't need to be just a day, every other day. Hata hiyo Monday ukitoka job, bado tutakuwa tukiwangojea, hakuna
Hapana, sisi tutakuwa
shida.
kazi.
I will just
Si tusimeza mkitoka.
event imepitwa.
Uh,
Do the right thing at the right
Where?
time. Please.
Where? It's just gonna be
Power,
pushed.
but-
We have that power. It's just gonna
Yeah.
push it. Alafu just certain of any mshasema mapema. Like you know, like some you guys have had, so like yeah.
Si ndio mmeisikia but we are just tabled our
biometric
plans.
system.
Like it is just like so unajua inamwanga po if you tell
So hiyo
someone anaanza
wiki,
kuprepare.
and so for all the ladies hiyo wiki, especially that hiyo wiki on Monday ukiona kumeanza kupakiwa mango, girl.
Si hata tupate
I got
hivyo.
you.
Tunatokanga tu
We're
hivyo.
not packing clothes.
Tunaendanga tu hivyo.
Tutanunua huko. Si
Oh,
tunanunua.
hiyo pesa already ni Stingy Men's Association. Mtanunua nguo aje?
Si ni nguo mbili.
Tunanunulia, like men, it's Stingy Men Association
Yeah.
specifically for
For
the
women, but not
She said-
yourself.
You say you never say it.
Guys, put it on the
Never
comment
say it.
section. Nothing.
Never say it.
Sawa basi, sawa.
Next.
And then this book of Judges, so this is someone appearing before God, a Kenyan appearing before God. This book of judgment says you should be in hell. But since you are born and lived in Kenya throughout your life, we'll count that as a time served.
Why Kenya? Why my beloved country?
Kenya is hell.
Hey, Kenya ni kunoma. Kenya.
Yani wanakupunguzia miaka za kuishi hell
Imagine,
because of what
Kenya.
you went through in Kenya.
Like ulizaliwa ukidropiwa in hell.
Wow. This is a hate speech.
I hope our leaders got to
I'm
hear this.
offended.
Okay, I hope.
I am really offended.
And then this one,
The best view of the day.
this one. Haya. The characteristics, so this one unaweza piece all these things. So brightness, there is an indicator yenye iko hapo hivi.
Ni hata mtu.
Like it's so bright until that the man appears like a
I
silhouette.
don't know who used to come like this. There was one
Undertaker.
specific.
Hey.
And
Exactly. Okay, yeah, exactly.
And then sound, extremely loud. Font size, the biggest
Yes.
that there is.
Yeah, this is a hate
Yeah.
speech. Sound. This is not a place that has ladies.
Yeah, but man.
They really
font
start in
size.
February at a very sour
Very
note.
bad. Very
And
bad.
then notifications, it's a long list. It's a
I
long
know.
list. The apps running kwa background. Oh my god. And then they're just looking at you.
And then mama yako anakuuliza, by the way, simu yangu ina hang. Simu yangu hizi zote. This is the
So you
reason.
have just ume-reveal nani zina kwa ngasi nani. I've not said anything. I've not said anything. Wewe ndio umesema ni simu ya
Why you see my work
Apps
again?
running in the background. Like the fourth app, and then the white face.
unapata
Aka
zile
mchawi.
magame zote za temporal, ile ingine ya bubble zinaitwangaje?
Gani hiyo?
Ile ya I don't
Candy
know
Crush.
Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy.
Zote ziko hapo.
Anyway, parents, please look at your phone.
Guys, have you ever been in a situation when your parent is asking you to help them text?
And then they're telling you to text fast. Be very quick. Be very quick.
Have you ever seen how parents text?
And then wengine watumiangi hii ya
Na saa hiyo,
choose something or
actually like my mom is kwanza unapianga simu anafanya hivi.
Kwa hivyo unasema nini kuhusu mambo ya brightness na font size?
But as you were
Font
saying,
size ni kubwa.
nikani
Hey, we love our moms.
Like, because this is a smartphone, so it's a computer, so like you need to open one up, like just one, what's the right word? One action is enough. So like anaifinya mara tatu, alafu anakwambia kwa nini na and then it's just like the computer, like one action is enough. Umepatia 3 commands.
Because your younger children will laugh at you also.
but at least tutakuwa
This is our moment.
digital.
So guys, once again, put it on the comment section.
Yes.
Which was the best meme? For me, this is the best meme. And if you have similar incidences like we have, kindly just put it down on the comment section.
Yes.
Before we get to the topic of the day, we'll go for a short break.
Hello, Firebrand Nation. Welcome and welcome to this episode of FNN. This is the place where we tackle cultural issues, giving them faith-based insights. So if you're new here, karibu sana. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel where you can get to watch more powerful and impactful videos. Also join us on the comment section, on the chat section. Chat us up. Tell us what you think about the topics of the day. What insights do you have about the topics of the day? What's your favorite meme for the day? And let's have an amazing time. So let's get into today's episode.
Welcome back. We're just paying bills and remembering about our parents. So before we get to the topic of the day, I'd like to shout out to Janet Mwihaki. Ameandika, the show is lit, locked in Kayole, keep the fire burning. Jen, utavunjika mbavu.
Ashavunjika.
Zinavunjika.
I knew. She's over that by now. So guys, that was an awesome session. So today we are dealing with facing the year. In the wake of March 2020, that's when the pandemic hit. And to just get a few statistics out there in terms of job, because the people who are searching, given that 50% of the population is the youth, so we are currently the people who are looking for jobs. So the people who are hardest hit by the pandemic in terms of job losses were us. So to get from the Daily Nation, it says about 1.72 million workers lost their jobs within 3 months. That's between that's March to June, when Kenya imposed the coronavirus-induced lockdown that cost either others were laid off, others got a pay cut. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows the number of people in employment fell from 15.87 million between April to the end of June compared to 17.59 million the previous quarter. Young people were the hardest hit by the job cuts compared to the counterparts aged above 35 years. The quarterly labor force survey indicates that nearly 4.64 million people were jobless at the end of June, up from 2.94 million at the end of March, the month when Kenya reported the first case of COVID-19. So you can see the numbers are in millions. This means that 22.61% of the 20.5 million labor force, up from 14.3% in March, reflecting significant businesses disruptions. Young workers between the age of 20 and 29 years accounted for 63% of the lost jobs, or 1,158,466 positions. So when you see the numbers, clearly we were the hardest hit. And ages 20 to 29. Okay, I wouldn't say that's our ages because I'll be saying what our ages are. So
That's saying our age, but it's okay.
It's right. But if you're still, you're below 35, you're still in this, the issue that happened. So clearly 63%, is a huge number. And that is our scope of influence, because we have 1 million Kenyans, actually I'm sure, we have 1 million Kenyans graduating from universities every year. And we have 63%, which is actually 1 billion and something, according to the numbers, who lost their jobs. So that make me think, because in the wake of problems, that's when we're not trying to go through the problem because it's already happened. The pandemic happened, COVID is here with us. but it's time to readjust, because in the wake of problems, that's when you get your greatest strength, and that's where opportunities happen the most. So my first question would be, how should the youth readjust? I'll start with you, Firebrand Kevin.
First of all, we need to realize, thank you for the opportunity, we need to realize that we are in a highly dynamic world, especially in the advent of like advanced technology. Like the world is changing extremely fast, and most of the jobs that even the youth were that were lost, if a job was lost, it means that someone else or something else could do it better than whoever was there at a cost-effective price. That is the economics of work.
Right.
Something like a robot, the reason that they come is because they can do they can do it better than a human. So we need to equip ourselves with skills or just planning ourselves to be more resilient in such times. That means that there is an idea that you always have. Personally, that is what I believe, that each and every person has got an idea that can change. If instead of all of us just focusing on building like jobs, and because it also gives the politicians a loophole to manipulators. We can focus on building our skills. And in this discussion I've had with some people, and people ask me that what happens when all of us run for like focus on creating companies or stuff like that.
Right.
You know, when I have a company and you have a company, we can work together,
Right.
but it does not mean that you have employed me or I've employed you.
Exactly.
It just means that we're partnered.
Right.
So if, for example, I have a company that deals with, let's say, construction, and you have a company that let's say deals with human resource, you
Right.
can partner so that you are doing that work instead of me hiring those people.
Right.
That is what we need to create instead of just focusing on creating jobs. Because honestly speaking, whatever COVID did, it did not destroy jobs. It just accelerated the destruction of jobs because already the trends were already showing such. Yeah.
Right. So to follow up, let me ask then, as I asked Firebrand Joshua. So do you think goals can help in terms of a pandemic, in terms of like creating new opportunities? So should people rethink their goals, or should those, if you've never written down goals, is it the time to start writing goals?
I think when you talk about goals and the pandemic, they go handy, especially because just trying to borrow what Firebrand Kevin has stated, that we need to rethink in terms of employment into becoming an employer or just and I would like to maybe focus on having things like being more, or rather investing more in invention and being the creator, like literally being the creator. But I would like also to say, because we are talking about most of the young people who have been affected, even in the employment, if the focus is I want to just get the paycheck, then there's a problem. We need to rethink that I may start with the employment, but my mind even in the employment is how can I make the company get more money? Or how can I make the company grow? What can I do? Because that's where the creativity begins from. And from there, the young people will be able to come up with their own stuff. Like after a few years, they will be the employers. So if that's the mentality that we begin with, and maybe connecting to the goals, that when you write down the goals, you're writing from where you are, like starting from where you are, but looking to the future. And like what one of our past and our mentors, Reverend Karaoke, has told us, that you need to see the end from the beginning.
Right.
So I'm employed today, but I'm looking at the end, being the employer. I'm looking from the eyes. I'm working, I'm employed, but I'm looking my employment from the eyes of the employer. And I think if that's the focus, if that's the mentality, then within a few years, regardless of what is happening, the pandemic and all that, we'll be able to overcome it easily.
Right. And I ask you, Jane, I'm borrowing from what Rev Joshua has said. Do you have any goals that you set that were able to help you during the pandemic when it happened? Because I usually feel like goals are a roadmap. Mm-hmm. So like in the wake of an issue, you still have a roadmap that you're following to.
The goals that I had set in the beginning of last year, when the pandemic hit, personally for me, they were not goals to help sustain me in the pandemic. Because some of the goals were, I need to finish school,
right.
I need to graduate. Not like nothing like that was fit in the pandemic. So after the pandemic hit, for me personally, it took me up, like it literally took me back. It took me like, I think that whole month to now reset, like, okay, Jane, let's just face it, graduating, not doing some of these goals that you had written are not going to be possible. So how are you going to make yourself useful now in this pandemic? So I sat down with each goal and I was like, okay, this and this, this and this and this and this and this and this will go blah, 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 blah. And I need to change or to reinvent itself. Some, like I think 1 or 2 in terms of like saving, that would really help because kuna mali tunaye. So at that time, your bank account is seeing like, wow, Jane, this is more money that you're saving. It's like that one, only money wise. That's the only part. Not getting money, but like saving money. The one that you have, you're not using, so you're saving. But the others, they were not working for me in the pandemic. You now got to a point now you have to sit down with yourself and now restructure everything that you had done. Yes.
So the keywords I'm getting is restructuring, thinking in terms of being employers. Because I think at the end of the day, given the pandemic has already happened, we really want to tell the youth out there, those ones who are listening, those ones will get an opportunity to listen to us, that there's still life after this. Like this is just a shifting that has happened. So that's why I'm bringing the goal issue. So I'd ask, and any of you can answer, are your goals usually yearly? Have they changed? Because we've been in a culture of setting goals. Are we in a after the pandemic, do you set them yearly? Are you still holding the same thing? So let me ask you, Firebrand, Kevin. Like what is your procedure of setting a goal? What do you usually think about? Do they readjust quarterly or do you follow the same things throughout the year?
First of all, when I like my definition of a goal is anything that I can do within a year.
Okay.
So when I'm setting the goals, I'm looking at something that I can do within a year, so that I achieve whatever I have set for 15 and 20 years to come. So my main focus is 15 to 20 years.
Right.
But I need to be sustained between now and 20 years. So if, let's say, you have a company and it's not generating revenue, it won't be sustained for that long.
Right.
So number one, I focus, as Joshua has said, whatever we were taught, that you first of all look at the end, while you are still at the beginning. So you create the roadmap. Most of the people say that make sure that your goals, your visions are realistic. But my friend, whatever God deposited in you and He showed you that vision. For example, if He told you that you are going to own a city, it's always never realistic. And the moment you try to put it to make it realistic, you are going to miss the whole picture. You are going to downsize whatever you are doing. So put that thing, that great vision that you have. You want to build a whole city. Put it like right there, the amount, the size of land that you want, the number of buildings, and the way it is going to be organized. Put it there, and then now you personally, that's what I do. And then I now start looking at the steps to get there. For example, there are things that I like right now. I don't have, let's say, 1,000 acres, and I cannot, let's say, realistically speaking, I cannot get it within a year.
Right.
But within a year, I can get skills that I can the skills or even the experience to run a city. So I start building on those skills while I still look for investors and all those people who can build on this vision. And the importance of that is, by the time I'm getting to that end, I will have a team. That's another thing. We cannot a team is very important. That is one of the things that I came to learn. So that in every goal of mine, there is always a team that is involved. Right. Yeah. So the monthly, not the monthly, but the yearly goals, I make sure that there is a team that is attached to them, so that in the process of time, if someone if someone gets out of it, so that we lose a team member.
Right.
Either they decide that they want to pursue other ambitions of their own, so that we can adjust, but focusing on that we need people who have got these specific skills. And so that one is for a year.
Right.
But the things that I'm doing within a year, they must add up to whatever I need to achieve, let's say within 5 years. And then that thing within 5 years, it should contribute considerably to whatever I need to do in 15 to 20 years. But now when it comes to daily, you see the problem with the focusing on the 20-year goal is, if I've said that I really desire to have 1,000 acres, and today I have 1 acre. You see, the difference is so big. I've made considerable steps, but the difference is big. So I'm prone to be discouraged. So what I do is I break it down to monthly and even daily tasks, to monthly goals and daily tasks. So for a daily task, it can be just a very significant, a small thing, but that when I check it, let's say from the checklist that of the things that I had purpose to do today, I see that I had planned to do 10 things today and I've done 9 of them. So that is 90% success rate. And like if I plan, if I just say that I want to buy land, and then it will take, let's say, a full month or let's say 6 months for me to buy land, it will take me 6 months to tick that thing. So I'm prone to be discouraged. So I break it down to daily tasks,
right,
so that they can amount to that objective. And for me, I've found it to be very, very fruitful and very realistic. It really motivates me. And then one of the things I also learned is working on the negative.
Right.
For example, if I know that, let's say I need $1 million. So like right now I don't have $1 million, but I need $1 million. So if I get 100,000, I look at it from, it is minus 100,000, and it is not like it is the amount that I'm remaining with is minus 900,000,
right,
instead of I have plus 100,000. For me, the moment I see this balance reducing, it is better than seeing this other one increasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the same thing? And then before, he's brought a very important point of being realistic. So goals are not usually realistic. So do you think your parents also have a part to play to kill the momentum of a goal? Let me explain. In the sense that they'll always ask you to be very realistic. You have this, actually also in terms of whatever you want to pursue, and have nothing against them because there's a different culture, different generation and stuff. So like you'd want to pursue something out of the ordinary, like telling your mom, guess what, I've done pharmacy, but I want to become a full-time blogger. So that in itself just cuts out the idea of getting from school, graduating and getting to a white-collar job. So do you feel like our parents also influence the type of goals that we set and how realistic, so like they like kind of reduce the imagination rate? Yes, Firebrand Joshua.
I think goals should be realistic. And my perspective would be, the end goal is not, should be realistic in this manner. When you look at the end goal, if it might be not realistic to other people, but it has to be realistic to yourself, because it's a big thing. And I'm trying to understand his perspective also, right, because he actually is an engineer, and for you to think of these outside the box, especially outside the box, it's something that people don't connect to. But I'm very sure that for even, I know he's a fan of Elon Musk and the things he does, and I like his way of thinking. But it has to be vivid in your mind, in your head. You have to see it. You have to see how, you might not have the full picture, but you must have the end goal. The end goal, that's what I was saying, like looking the end goal from the beginning, because right now, actually what is not realistic is the right now. But the end is realistic. Right? I think that's what you probably meant. But I don't know. It has a whole different perspective. But for me, that's what I think. If, let's say I'm in the music industry, and that's my focus. So right now, for example, I've seen an international studio, for example, recording Empire, for example. But it's not realistic. Right now when I tell someone about it, it's not realistic, but I have seen it. So my everyday duty, my everyday work, I'm walking towards that empire. So my today, taking a book and writing that one verse, one chorus, is building up towards, it's a staircase towards the end goal. So I really think, for me, the setting, the writing down, we write down the like 15 years, that's where we see it. Of course, God might make it more sooner or might take more time, but I think there has to be that aspect of being realistic. And the reason why I'm saying being realistic is you can't just wake up and say I want to be a pilot, but there is no something that shows you can be a pilot. In other words, the realistic part comes on the what am I working towards being a pilot today, you get, and that's where the realistic part comes in.
Okay, Jane, what do you think?
Just before let me just clarify. When I said realistic is like unrealistic, in other, like the other synonym is like being extremely ambitious. It's like saying that Kenya in 20 years time will be the economic powerhouse of Africa. You see, at the stage where we are, it's very unrealistic. But it might be that there are some things that we are building. For example, if we have let's say the number of the kind of programs that we have incorporated, we are working towards that. We know that it's not realistic that Kenya, being the smallest, among the smallest nations in Africa, shall be the economic powerhouse of, let's say, the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. It is not realistic at this stage. But the fact that you have that assurance, and you know that if we adopt this technology, and this technology, it is going we are going to get there. That is the thing. Because if you say that I want it to be realistic, and now I say that I just want Kenya to be the economic powerhouse of, let's say, East Africa, you will downsize and you will become very comfortable. So even the things that you will do around it, they will become like you are trying to achieve things which have been done. Because for every innovation, it was done from something which was unrealistic. Because no one believed that. No one believed that you could take a rocket to space.
Believed it.
No, the thing is, like, for example, yes, exactly. So that's why I'm saying that for you, whatever God has put in you, you have seen it. So you have to believe it. It's like 5 years ago, in 2015, no one believed that you could send a rocket in space, traveling at 17,000 kilometers per hour. You bring it back and you land it vertically. It's like taking Times Tower. You send it to space and then it comes land vertically. And do that 100 times over without any accident. It was like someone said, even Neil Armstrong, who the first man on the moon, said that thing is impossible. The person who went on the moon says that this thing is impossible. Yeah, but someone proved it. So I believe that when you see it at the end, just focus on that thing.
So since they both answered about being realistic, I'll ask again. Do you think our parents at times cause us to downsize? How far we can think of our goals?
Personally, I think so. But even if, let me give an instance. We were in our church, so there's a live ministries. We were undergoing leadership, and people got appointed to be pastors, reverends, deacons, or whatever. So when I told my mom that thing, she was happy for me, but she asked me a question. So now, what is your plan? Do you plan to stop everything, school, be full time, or what's your plan? She just wants to know what is my plan. And I told her what my plan is. I told her, no, I'm not planning to stop school. I'm planning to continue pursuing and increase my masters and all those things, blah, blah, blah. But if I told her I am planning to stop, her response will not be the same. So sometimes I get from, like, when you're starting to tell your parents about goals, like, for example, if you want to do business, not employment sector, they're really happy because they know at the end of the month my child has something. But when it comes to business, it is very unpredictable. So if you go tell your parent, about a business or about starting something and all those things, first impression, first thing is that they will not be as excited as you are, and they can tell you know what, wewe ka kwanza, first of all tafuta he actually hata wanaanza kutafutia job without even telling you. But one thing that I've come to learn is if you continue telling them over and over, and they are seeing success in the things that you have started, and still being persistent in it, telling them over and over and over, itafika a place they'll come, you know what, sawa basi, do you want our input, what do you want from me, how much money do you want, this, yes, after they see it, even if they have seen maybe some fail, because the fact that you're continuing to do other business, it means maybe one did not succeed, but the fact that you're learning from it, and you keep on being persistent in it and telling them, they now see my child is apa, kuna kitu, by the way, kuna kitu. So over time they come to now start supporting it. So yes, at first instance they will not be for it, but later on, if you keep persisting and all those things, they will come and support it.
Awesome. Yeah. So as we bring this discussion to a close, it feels like time has really flown out. What would be your advice to the youth, and especially focusing on what opportunities have come through during this pandemic season? Because I believe a lot of it, some doors have closed, others have opened. Yeah. So what opportunities have really opened up? And then Firebrand, Kevin, before you close, I'd really like you to answer, because in the Bible there are suddenlies. So I'm not saying that we should have goals, but how do you incorporate your goals and the suddenly moments that one day David was a shepherd boy and the next time he was a king? So that type of way, as we bring the discussion to a close. Let me start with you, Firebrand.
The first question that you asked about the youth. One thing that I have come to learn as a youth is never be too rigid with your goals. Never. Yani, let's not even talk about a pandemic. Never be too rigid with your goals. Like, ni hadi mwaka ishe. Hadi the time you've set your goals. Never be too rigid with your goals. And another thing is the fact that right now the pandemic is actually almost coming to an end. Right. We as youth need not to seek to solve this problem that is here. We have to now realize that the pandemic is coming to an end. We have to think of the other problems that will come. Because if I say, like, one of my goals is to start a business right now and I want to start making masks. I kid you not, maybe I'm not prophesying or saying, but I'm saying, like, over a period of time, a very short time, people will not be wearing masks. Or watu watakuwa kivaa masks, si as wengi as sisi. So that is like a falling kind of business. So you're supposed to look later on, okay, what are the problems that are coming after this pandemic? What are the problems that are going to arise, like maybe later on in our generation or something of the sort, and then now start being the solution.
So forecasting.
Yes. So you now seek to be a solution to problems that are arising, not a problem that has already arisen. Because I kid you not, there's going to be a lot of competition in that problem, but seek to be a solution for problems that are going to arise. Yes, that's one thing I can say.
Awesome.
Yeah, so personally, I believe that there is a roadmap that God has planned for each one of us. And when I say this one, because I've come to really understand the essence of purpose in every human, and as Firebrand has said, that all of us, we need to be more oriented towards solving problems. And this is where we go wrong most of the time. We try to help other people solve the problem that they were put to solve to a point that we forget our own. So how does this come to play? You see someone today has like, as he has said, that today there is a pandemic and it's mandatory that everybody wears masks. So someone else was already producing masks. There were companies which were producing masks. So you also invest heavily towards that one. And then all of a sudden it comes that now everybody should not be wearing masks. Right. Now people should be wearing overalls. So again, you take the investments and you put it in that. Overalls. So it gets to a point where yes, you have some profit, but you have not really solved a problem, because the problem you are trying, whatever you are after, was not solving a problem. It was after money. So what we really need to focus on is solving problems. So how does it marry with the question that you have asked? In the Bible, there is nothing. I believe that there is nothing like suddenness. It's always a step. And even the Bible says that a son, as long as he thinks like a child, he's not worthy for the inheritance. He's not worthy. So it means that, you see, whatever we say that God's timing is the best, God's timing depends on you. It's not God's timing, like it depends on you. How far have you matured to be ready to take on whatever he desires for you. If you mature at age 10, he's going to give you. If you mature at 50, 60 years old, that is the time he's going to give you. Because God does not want his resources to be wasted. And today, if all of us, as the youth, we can decide that today I want to venture in, for example, in business. And I just decide that I really want to take this thing seriously. I know that along the way there will be failure, but I want to be ready to take that failure, and I want to magnify that failure so that it's not failure. Sorry, not to magnify, but to change it so that it's, instead of failure, it's a learning point. So that when I fail, it's just that I have learned one way of not doing the thing that I was doing, and in doing so, we will be anticipating and expecting like better things. And everything that comes, we shall be ready for it. And through that, we will learn very fast. When it comes to knowledge gathering, we will gather a lot of knowledge at a very fast rate, and then we'll find that we will grow extremely fast. So let us not be like my youth manze tusitegemee stuff za sport pesa, like at you're just there waiting for God to do a miracle. By the way, I came to realize that God does not love doing miracles. He doesn't love doing miracles because it contradicts his principle that he created something and he said that let it be a continuity. And it is up to us to establish that continuity by gathering knowledge, by walking according to the principles of God. So let us gather knowledge, and as the Bible says in Proverbs 16, that commit all your plans to the Lord, and he will see them to, like he will ensure that he will walk with you, paraphrasing, until you are successful in it. Yeah, so that is what I believe. Maturity is everything.
Right. Firebrand, I want you to, before you speak to them, also which opportunities, given you're a creative and there's a wave of creativity, so which other opportunities should they look out for?
I would say maybe opportunities, you don't look out for opportunities, you create opportunities mostly. And just to add on what Firebrand Kevin has said and what Firebrand Jane has also said, is inside every one of us there is something that drives us, and that's where the opportunity is. In terms of what God has put in us. When you take a newspaper, what is the first thing that you look? If it is sports that you first look, then you can start investing your mind, your knowledge towards that aspect. If it's the obituaries, you can begin thinking of a funeral home, just to say, yeah. But if you take a book, what's the first thing that you look? Is it the cover? Is it the fonts? So those are some of the small things that you get to realize what you're passionate for, and that is where you will the opportunities will come in. If you get, let's say, if it's a movie, what kind of movies do you attract you the most? And I think that's how, because once you realize that, you create, or you put all your energy towards that, and that's when you solve most of the problems towards that direction, and you will get opportunities based on the more problems you're willing to solve. So in a nutshell, that's what I would like to maybe climax with.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Next Monday, Red, we are color coordinating.
Yes.
You are.
We are color coordinating. Well, guys, that's all the time we had. I'd like to borrow things. Firebrand January say don't be rigid. According to Firebrand Kevin, follow your purpose, not really a paycheck, because the purpose has longevity. And according to Firebrand Joshua Joe, do not look for opportunities, create opportunities. And I'd like to add, to sum everything up, most of the times you are the answer to your problem. Whatever problem you're facing, the answer is usually inside of you. Thank you so much for joining me. Comment, like, share using the hashtag Panelist Monday. Until next Monday, help me say love God, love others passionately.